Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Good. Be seated, please. Om. Good. We'll start with our usual prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavidyan Karavavahayi Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahayi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Good. Welcome to you all. Thank you for coming to join us for our anniversary celebration today. I'll have some remarks to share with you a little later. Well, I'm just that's maybe, that's what I'm hearing. Maybe turn it down a little. Thank you. We're going to begin our session this morning in a different way by sharing with you something unique that we've done, something different. We've launched an intensive online course in Advaita Vedanta, meditation, and Sanskrit. And we launched it some couple months ago, and to my great surprise, over 2,000 people have enrolled in that online course. And I thought that was something so significant that you might enjoy hearing something more about it, learning something more. So I'd like to invite Vasanthiji to come up and describe the program to you, and then I think some students in the course will also come up and share their experiences.
Namaste Swamiji, and welcome everyone to Arsha Bodha Center's 26th anniversary celebration. Swamiji kind of took away the secret, but
sorry.
I'd like to first invite Suresh and Vijay to come and honor Swamiji before we start the program. So, as Swamiji just mentioned, most of you are aware of the 6-month online it's called Intensive Online Course in Advaita Vedanta, Meditation, and Sanskrit. This was launched in mid-April by Swamiji. Just a little background on why or how the course came about. Most of the teachers in our sampradaya, including Swamiji, were trained in 3-year residential programs. Initially, it was offered by Puja Swami Dayananda Ji and later by his disciples. During this 3-year course, the students underwent a full-time study with several classes every day in Vedanta, Sanskrit, chanting, puja, and they were also required to do seva and volunteering activities. And this intensive study not only allowed them to immerse themselves in the teachings, but also develop a deep sense of reverence and value for the teachings and the teaching tradition. Of course, having Puja Swamiji as their guru, they learnt Vedanta from the best. But But they also saw firsthand, because they were living with the Guru, they saw firsthand how he dealt with day-to-day situations, and this helped them in their own personal, emotional and personal growth. And you've heard Swamiji say a few times how life-transforming this 3-year program was for him. Our ashram is not a residential facility, but Swamiji wanted to give the thousands of students who watch his videos online a kind of similar opportunity to learn, grow, and transform their lives. And that's how this online intensive course was launched. Today I'll share a little bit some statistics about the course. Those of you who love statistics, this will be of much interest to you. For the rest of us, it will be a little boring. Apologize in advance. So as Swamiji said, we have a total of 2,184 registered participants, of which 44% are from North America, 33% from Asia, 14% from Europe, 2% from South America, and yes, 1% even from Africa. As one would expect, 38% of the participants live in the US, 30% in India, with Canada, UK, and Australia at 3 to 4% each. Of the 195 countries in the world, we have participants from 78 of them. So imagine there are people in 78 countries learning Advaita Vedanta, Sanskrit, and meditation from Swamiji. And it is very heartening to know that 40% of the participants are female. 57% are male. Unlike some of the residential courses that had been conducted by Puja Swamiji or that are conducted now by his disciples in India, there is an age restriction in the residential courses for obvious reasons, medical, health, whatever. Since ours is an online course, there is no age restriction for the participants. Our oldest participant is 90 years young. And our youngest participant is 13 years, a budding teen. And in our course, almost half of the participants are between the ages of 40 to 60, about 1/4 between 20 and 40, and 1/4 are seniors between 60 and 80. So go seniors. Of the 800 plus students who live of the 800 plus US participants, 196 live in New Jersey, 130 in California, and 76 in Texas. I have forgot to mention, thanks to one of our online admin volunteers, Rimna, who collected all the statistics for me with the help of AI, I think. So the course is almost 1/3 completed, and Swamiji said it would be nice to get some feedback from few of our local students who are actively engaged in this course. Our first speaker is Chitra Narendra. She's a corporate compensation leader with a master's in English. Chitra and her husband Naren are very dedicated volunteers at the ashram and do whatever is needed whenever needed. Naren is standing outside. Thank you, Naren. They have two grown boys, and outside of her professional life, Chitra loves to read, garden, go on nature hikes, and is committed to veganism. She's been associated with the ashram for over 20 years, and I'd like to invite Chitra to the stage to share her thoughts on the online course.
Namaskaram, everyone. Namaskaram, everyone. I'm not a public speaker, so even though I've given a lot of presentations at work, today I'm not going to do a business presentation. Today I'm going to take a step back and share my experience of the past 20 years of my association with the ashram. Over 20 years ago, a neighbor, a close friend, brought me to Arsha Bodha Center for a very first time. For more than two decades, I've sat in the audience, quietly absorbing the wisdom shared here. Beyond the classes, this center became a sanctuary for me. I share a deeply personal connection with Vasanthiji, who stepped forward gently to guide me through some of the most difficult, trying times of my life. And because of her compassion and Swamiji's words, this space is incredibly close to my heart. My spiritual journey, just as a background, my spiritual journey began as a rich, slightly confusing mosaic. I grew up in a non-religious Hindu family, yet deeply exposed to a lot of literature. My grandfather could recite Ramayanam and Mahabharatam by heart. And at the same time, I attended Christian missionary schools and gaining a strong exposure into Christian theology. By the time I was 12 or 13, this mixed exposure crystallized into something intense. I was introduced to a rigorous form of Pentecostal practice. I gave it absolutely everything, following every tenet, fasting daily, memorizing scriptures. I was so consumed by this devotion that I was genuinely, I felt there is a deep mystical connection with Jesus in my dreams and my waking hours. But as I grew older, my inner inquiry naturally began to evolve. I found myself searching for a different kind of philosophical framework. I deeply felt a calling towards a spiritual vision that emphasized ultimate universal liberation, a path where every seeker eventually finds their way home. Following that inner compass, I stepped away and reverted back to my roots, read Puranas and various Sanskrit translations. I walked, but walking the path without a guru or proper guidance is a dangerous trait. I walked around believing I knew everything, eagerly debating anyone who could, raise a question to me. In college, I had a professor who was translating Ramana Maharishi's verses, and we would have long conversations about Jiddu Krishnamurti, Ramana Maharishi, and I feel sad now, looking back, that my interlocutors, my friends, could not sway me from my absolute certainty of my knowledge. I was seeking, I was searching, but I was spinning my wheels in my intellectual complexity. And then I walked into Arsha Bodha Center. With each Vedanta class, each meditation session, I was floored by the calmness, clarity Swamiji builds week after week. If you keep connecting the dots, a simple, ultimate understanding begins to emerge. Personally, I wanted to know how to be sustained in the Sat Chit Ananda Swamiji talks about. As a young seeker, he had also posed the same exact question to his own teacher, Pujya Swamiji Dayananda. Hearing that we shared the same burning question left me completely disarmed. And I was even more disarmed by the beautifully simple answer Swamiji passed on to us. Why do you give that much importance to the mind? It is also just a vritti. Hearing that mind itself is just a temporary wave of thought, not the ultimate reality of who we are, was a total revelation for me. Now, this is part of the Vedanta online course. I find it difficult to talk about it while I'm being immersed in it, yet through the screen, through the courses, the depth of knowledge Swamiji shares is undeniable. He bridges centuries of ancient tradition, delivers it seamlessly right to me, in my personal experience. Swamiji's way of teaching is masterful, gradual building of awareness, constructed brick by brick, week by week, until it stands strong like a citadel, a palace of clarity in my mind. And during the Q&A sessions, he masterfully covers the exact common questions that arise in my mind as we journey through the material. Through this online course, we are not just analyzing abstract, we are actively learning the beauty of the Sanskrit language, anchoring these insights through meditation with Swamiji's guidance. Under Swamiji's guidance and through his precise translations, studying Gita was a huge revelation for me. Blending the core Vedanta teachings, daily meditations, and the study of Sanskrit has wrought a profound alteration in my life, a quiet transformation that no words can capture today. 20 years ago, I walked in as a guest. Today, I stand before you as a grateful student. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, Vasanthiji. Thank you for the entire community for turning a silent witness into a true, clear-seeing seeker. Namaskar.
Thank you, Chitra, for that. She's an English major, right? You can make out wonderful words. And good thing she didn't pursue her Pentecostal dream, and she's here instead. Our next speakers are Deepak and Deepika Shah, who used to attend classes in the early years of the ashram and have reconnected with the online course. Deepak's background is in computer science, and he works currently for JP Morgan, whereas Deepika is a teacher's assistant in the West Windsor School District. I'd like to invite Deepak and Deepika to the stage to say a few words.
Namaskar, Swamiji, and pranam to everybody who has gathered here to celebrate this wonderful occasion of 26th anniversary of this spiritual center right in the middle of New Jersey. Both Deepika and I are very honored to have an opportunity to speak in the presence of Pujya Swamiji and in front of you guys who are all the spiritual seekers and have been getting the guidance from Swamiji for last many, many years. So thank you for that. Thank you for that opportunity. Is it audible? Okay. So our family has been blessed to have been associated with this center for a long, long time. Like, probably pretty much from the starting. When we started Swamiji, this hall was not there. This was in the process of being built. We used to meet in the old building. And the most, I think Tuesday evening Vedanta lectures was my favorite. And I was attending that very religiously. We studied Tattva Bodha, I think Panchadasi and Narad Bhakti Sutra. Under Swamiji's guidance. And my best part was the satsang after the lecture. We used to sit outside in the small group, and I had so many questions. All the time I had questions, and I would not miss that for anything. I think we also attended Bhagavad Gita classes for some time with family, with my kids, my father. We used to love that. We used to sit in the next room with the kids. My kids got introduced to, and I think that's the reason they still have the value and the respect and faith in Bhagavad Gita. And thank you, Swamiji, for that. I think after that, to be honest, we were not really attending in person, but we have never left the touch of Swamiji. Through podcast on Bhagavad Gita, YouTube videos, we have been always connected with Swamiji's teachings, especially the question answer satsang Swamiji has every week. Through that one of the satsang, I think back in February or March, Swamiji mentioned about this online course. And I was so thrilled with that. I was waiting for something like that because I had the exposure to Vedanta on and off with some teachings here, some other YouTube videos, but never had an opportunity to have the systematic structural learning. So both Deepika and I were so excited. We registered right away. Not only that, we basically told some of our friends, and some of them have also registered in this, and they all are enjoying that. So this course is really unique because it's not just Vedanta. It's like integrated with meditation and Sanskrit, and they all make your spiritual journey very smooth. Knowing only one part, I think it's a little bit more difficult. So I had exposure to Vedanta with Swamiji and others, but getting through this course, I'm like really as if somebody is walking or guiding slowly and slowly on the path of spiritual journey, and it's amazing. Some of the basic things like adhikaritva or pramana, or Vedanta is not like philosophy or science. It's basically for you to liberate from suffering. Those are the things which basically makes you connect. When Swamiji says about consciousness or Atma, it's not something out there, it's you. Swamiji keeps saying that whenever you think about Atma or consciousness, not think about it as an object or something out there, but it's about yourself. Constant reminder of that makes this course so wonderful. People like me who have very little background in meditation, and I didn't have any formal training in Sanskrit in school. That was optional, and I didn't take it. And I regret it all my life. After getting into the spiritual journey and knowing how important is to know Sanskrit, I was thrilled to have Sanskrit as a part of this course, which will give me an opportunity to start from the beginning. Meditation, again, understanding the theoretical value of it, but never have got into that formally. With Swamiji's every week's session on meditation, where he will introduce every week some new technique, and his constant reminder that meditation is an acquired skill. It's not something you're born with. That keeps me focused that, okay, I'll get it one day. All you have to do is abhyasa and vairagya, right? So that basically puts me on the path of meditation. Thanks, Vasanthiji, about Sanskrit class. Her simple and very patient way of teaching to people like me who have no background in Sanskrit. It's just wonderful. And I really appreciate all of that. Thank you, Swamiji. My wife, Deepika, she has been my constant companion with the journey with the ashram and Swamiji. She probably would like to say a couple of things.
I won't take that much time, guys, as my husband already covered everything. Namaskar, Swamiji. I just want to emphasize a little bit on the day. I remember the very first time, Swamiji, when I came here, I felt the direct connection with you for your teaching, the way you are teaching and all that. And the style of your teaching with that, the powerful voice which you have, it just stick to my mind. And the most thing stick to my mind was like the born and brought up you are here, and the way you are connecting the Western and Indian culture together. It just gave so much respect for you at that time, and since then we are very thankful to you, Swamiji, for this. Of course, the command of your Sanskrit is like, I feel so ashamed being born in India and all that, and not understanding when I started with you that what Sanskrit is. But thank you to Swamiji about giving us that opportunity to learn a little bit of Sanskrit. That makes this ashram so valuable, that Swamiji is teaching with everything so deeply. I just want to end with this one thing. I still remember, Swamiji, that it was our pleasure to invite you to our home many years ago, if you remember. And that time my kids were maybe in middle school or something. And I have two boys. They were giving me so much hard time, and I tried everything, even though with Swamiji's all teaching and everything. So when Swamiji came, I was sitting next to Swamiji. I asked you one question, Swamiji: how are they going to be when they grow up? And I still remember your answer. You said, they are going to be wonderful kids. And I just want to tell you that, Swamiji, my one boy, he is a ER doctor, and the other one is in the tech side, and they are both doing wonderful in their life. So I still stick to that. Whenever I go lost, I remember your words. They are going to be wonderful kids. So thank you so much, Swamiji, for blessing our family and our kids. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Vasanthiji.
Thank you, Deepak and Deepika. I wasn't sure I would remember their faces because they haven't been here in a while, but as soon as I saw them walking up, I knew who they were. Our next speaker is Renee Kumar, who is a professional artist and has been working as one for the past 40 years. She and her husband Rakesh have raised 3 children and have been attending programs here since the very beginning. I'd like to invite Renee to the stage to give us an artist's perspective on the online course that she's registered to take.
Namaste, everybody. Namaste, Swamiji. Namaste, Vasanthiji. How I came to the ashram. I grew up in a traditional Catholic religion, I believe, just like Swamiji, and left at the age of 15, disillusioned by the concept of heaven and hell, good and evil. Thank you. I met my husband, Rakesh, also known as Teddy, as in teddy bear, in college. And he is just like a teddy bear. He had also grown up in a very religious Hindu family. We raised 3 children in what I like to call a Hindlik way: Christmas, Easter, Rakhi, Diwali, etc. My mother-in-law came to visit and help us with our 3rd child. She was depressed, very religious person, and Teddy took her to an Indian doctor who said, I can give you some medicine, but why don't you come to the ashram? So we started taking her, and we've been coming ever since for the past 25 years. Vedanta course thoughts. We found during this intense course that there's a systematic and profound way that many concepts are learned. We didn't appreciate many of these concepts and techniques while attending the ashram all these years. Some examples include different meditation techniques. We are learning and finding what works for us. As an artist, I like the visual technique. We have a family guru, and we like looking at her picture. For me, learning the Mahabharata story, I remember being in India with my children and seeing the whole country stop every Sunday to watch the TV series. I loved it, but I couldn't understand it. And so as an older person and having Swamiji break it down, I can understand the symbolism more clearly between the head and the heart. Regarding Vedanta teaching, some key concepts that we learned are moksha, salvation is freedom from suffering. Recognizing our true nature as the unchanging consciousness will enable us to achieve this salvation, and also the concept of dharma, the natural order of things. It will overrule adharma. Dharma holds the world together as Ishvara's intelligent order. It may take time, but dharma will always prevail. I take extreme comfort in this as an older person watching the world around us these days, and know I don't have to change anything. I just have to make sure my spiritual life keeps growing. Finally, gratitude. We live half an hour from the ashram and try to make it every Saturday on time. Not always. My husband, I'm very grateful that he wants to continue in a deeper spiritual life for us and for our family. The community in this ashram has been a sanctuary for me. Seeing and being with like-minded people that want to seek something deeper than the daily workings in their lives. I'm grateful every time the Om is prayed by all during the meditation. We first began visiting the ashram when the meetings were held in the small room, and now it's grown. The meetings are now held in this bigger hall and across the world online. The ashram online website we're grateful for. The YouTube channel is a wealth of information, very well organized, and provides a very nice way to access all of Swamiji's teachings. We thank the volunteers. Thanks to all of you for helping Vasanthiji and Swamiji to keep this ashram going. Vasanthiji, all the hard work that you do and stepping in when needed to keep us going on our spiritual journey. Her teaching of Sanskrit and other courses is invaluable. Finally, one of the 3 things needed for studying Vedanta, according to Swamiji, is access to a qualified teacher. To have this access so close to our residence is God-given. We are very thankful to you, Swamiji, for your teachings, your wisdom, your humor, and the very many metaphors that you use. To break it all down for us, we feel blessed to visit and learn from you every week.
Thank you, Renee, for your very, I want to say, artistic way. Thank you. And thanks to Rakesh, too. You all have been coming here for a long time. The next speaker is Renu Kumar, who has been a long-time student here. I remember she used to bring her son Tesu to attend the children and teen classes more than almost 2 decades ago. When you walked into the hall today, if you noticed how well the chairs were arranged, we used to do this way back, actually get a ruler and measure the distance between chairs because we just wanted everything to be so nice and welcoming. So if you noticed how well the chairs were arranged, the credit goes to Renu and a few other volunteers who painstakingly rearranged them every Saturday after class. Renu is always ready to cook for everybody, and I'd like to invite her to the stage to say a few words.
Namaste all. Pranam Swamiji. And for those of you who are new to Arsha Bodha Center, welcome to the center and the anniversary celebrations. Okay. So picture this. The years are 1971 to 1975. A teacher is diligently instructing a group of young girls in the Bhagavad Gita. Over 3 years, these girls learned to chant the verses, enacting them in Hindi scripts prepared by their teacher, enthralling their satsang audiences. They pass their exam from the Gita press and move on to learn the Valmiki's Ramayana. That teacher was my mother, my first guru, who initiated me in my spiritual journey before even I realized it. The environment I grew in reinforced the value of Hindu traditions without being coercive or overwhelming. However, as often happens, when we are too close to something, we take it for granted. I too took it for granted. I thought I already knew everything I needed to know. But did I? Fast forward to 1993, a colleague traveling from New York to Saylorsburg, Pennsylvania, stopped by our house to see our newborn. He encouraged us to visit a nearby ashram and attend the weekly meditation classes. That visit was intriguing, and we loved our time there. Even though we couldn't return right away, the image of the Swamiji who conducted that meditation class remained deeply ingrained in my mind. In 2002, another colleague, Vijay, told me about a local ashram where her son attended classes on Hinduism, and she encouraged me to bring my own son. As I entered the classroom filled with excited children, I was overjoyed to see a familiar face. It was exactly the same Swamiji from the Sailorsburg ashram. Was it a coincidence? I think not. It was a grace indeed. As the classes progressed, I found myself just as engaged as the children, if not more so. My parents also attended whenever they visited and frequently discussed the material afterwards. One thing became clear. We did not know much about our own religion, its traditions, or its teachings, especially the why behind the what. Through these classes, we all learned to appreciate our lifelong practices even more. The teenage classes were particularly impressive, preparing our youth for the world they were growing into while keeping them connected to the roots. And with his guitar and beautifully choreographed bhajans, Swamiji was a massive hit with everyone. I am forever indebted to him for instilling a deep respect for our traditions in our son. Thank you, Swamiji. Over the years, the more I learned, the more I realized how much there was left to discover. Beyond the spiritual classes and lessons, the support provided by Swamiji and the ashram has been tremendous. Whether it is supporting families through the Janaraksha program, helping the caregivers, or offering guidance on everyday matters, the Arsha Bodha Center has become a beacon for many of us, showing us the light in the darkest of times. Swamiji often quotes a beautiful metaphor. The sun shines on several buckets equally, but each bucket reflects the light depending on the water inside. Muddy, rippling water reflects less light than the water that is clear and still. This highlights the inner preparedness we need to truly experience that sunshine. Lately, I have found my sunshine in small sparks and some flares, while still feeling a bit lost in the forest of samsara. When Swamiji announced this new Vedanta online course, I felt like an excited child in a candy shop, surrounded by gems of these teachings, yet craving clarity and discipline. So I signed up. Some of us my age would dread homework assignments. Dread not. It is a simple but very nuanced exercise in shifting from passive listening to active listening, from Shravana to Manana, while preparing us for contemplation, Nididhyasana. Sanskrit classes are also part of this course. Having learned Sanskrit as a child, I thought it would be a breeze. Unfortunately, we lose what we don't use. Did you know that Sanskrit is phonetically exact language? Every letter has exactly one sound, ordered precisely by how the mouth produces them, from gutturals to labials. I never dozed off in my school, but I certainly don't remember the alphabet being taught with such brilliant logic. It gets more interesting with every lesson. Thank you, Vasanthiji, for teaching us this divine language so patiently. We have only just started this course. The material is familiar, yet it feels entirely new, clearer, more profound, and deeply engaging. As our fellow student, Usha, she perfectly adapted Swamiji's metaphor. Just as every match dries a pile of wet wood, ever so slightly. She feels the warmth of every lesson, eagerly waiting to be all fired up. Will this course bring the ultimate clarity and discipline I have been striving towards? Perhaps. That'll depend on my own effort and preparedness to receive this grace. What I am sure of is that I am on the right path, guided by a guru who is entirely dedicated to helping us see that light. So now, ending this speech with a corporate email-like or X message, quote unquote, thank you for your attention in this matter. This has completely lost its charm. So instead, I will say this. Thank you all for staying tuned. And if you happen to tune out, please find me afterwards. I'm always happy to present an individualized encore. Just for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Renu. And if anybody does reach out to her after, make sure to find out how to arrange the chairs. That will be a big help. Our next speaker is Manas Thakrar. He serves as a senior technology executive for a Philadelphia-based healthcare insurance provider. Manas and his wife Meghna have 2 children, Aryan, who is in college, and Sana, who is a high schooler. I should mention that Sana belongs to a girls' troupe, and in the summer will be leading an Eagle Project program to refence our back meditation garden. Thank you, Sana. And I'd like to invite Manas to the stage.
All right. Namaste, Swamiji, and namaste, everyone. I got it. Thank you. Done a lot of corporate presentations. This is the first spiritual talk I've ever given, so see how it goes. So thank you for the opportunity to speak to all of you today. We are certainly novice to the ashram compared to a lot of the seniors that I've seen here, not in age, but in the years attending, please, right? So our journey with the ashram started a little over 2 years ago. I was looking for a local place where my teenage daughter and I could learn meditation in a more regular fashion. We decided to give it a try here at the ashram, and it quickly became our Saturday routine. For me, it has become the most anticipated and fulfilling part of my week. Though I'm not entirely sure my 16-year-old shares the same exact sentiment. But what started as a simple Saturday meditation class turned into something unexpected. I became absolutely captivated by the teachings of Advaita Vedanta. Having grown up in India in a family that follows Vaishnavism, Vedanta was mostly an unknown concept to me. For us, going to the temple and worshipping was the primary religious activity, and that was all there is to it. As I began attending Swamiji's lectures on the Uddhav Gita last year, coming to Sunday satsangs and reading the books on the shelf here in this very hall, including Swamiji's autobiography, The Roar of the Ganges, I realized something profound. The spiritual answers that I had been looking for my entire life were right here in these teachings. However, day-to-day life commitments made it hard to dedicate enough time. I was dabbling here and there watching Swamiji's YouTube videos, which made an immense amount of sense to me. Yet, as an unprepared student, I was afraid to ask a learned guru like Swamiji where to go next in this journey. So when the 6-month online course was announced with its structured methodology, as well as clear time commitment, I signed up immediately. This type of opportunity is extremely rare, and I genuinely wanted to learn these ancient teachings in a methodical way. Then came week 3 of the online course, where we learned about adhikaratvam, the appropriate preparedness of a student. I thought I was doing reasonably well with viveka, vairagya, mumukshatvam, but when Swamiji introduced that set of 6 inner disciplines, Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, my immediate reaction was, wow, this is going to require some massive life changes here. So, it felt incredibly daunting. But with Shraddha, with complete trust in Swamiji's and these profound teachings, I decided to push through, pass the hesitation and carry on. And it has been absolutely wonderful. We are now in week 8 of the program, and I can honestly say this is the most amount of spiritual, profound study I've ever done personally. And I'm loving every minute of it. Now, every day feels like Saturday because I look forward to the teachings daily, especially now since we have also started the Bhagavad Gita discourse as well. Keeping up with the assignments and homework can be challenging with work and family life, but prioritizing these teachings over worldly activities hasn't been that hard also. And I've managed to complete the homework every week. Taking detailed notes on the Advaita teachings is critical for me. I'm just sharing it for the fellow students. And I refer to them extensively before submitting the homework every Tuesday. My only real struggle, sorry Vasanthiji, so far has been keeping up with the daily Sanskrit, but I hope to correct it very soon. But all of us in this journey know how difficult the road to self-realization can be. But with Swamiji's guidance and Ishvara's blessings, I feel fortunate to be walking this path. Yet, wherever this road ultimately leads, I can already see the impact these teachings are having on my life. They are helping me become a more aware, grounded, and thoughtful person every day, although my wife may disagree. Once again, thank you, Swamiji, Vasanthiji, and all the volunteers who make this course offering possible. I have immense gratitude for this opportunity and the privilege to speak here today.
Thank you, Manas, for your words. And he mentioned homework. Yes, homework is part of the course, required part of the course. And just, I had to go through a bunch of criteria to decide who we would invite to speak. Of course, all the other New Jersey residents who have not been invited, but have been very diligent. Homework was one of the criteria. Sending in your homework on time. And Sanskrit will get easier with a lot of hard work. Our last speaker is Ashwin Sampath, who is an electrical engineer by training and worked in the telecom industry for many years. Currently, he works in the field of robotics for precision agriculture. He enjoys hiking, playing tennis, and solving puzzles. He and his wife Shanti volunteer here regularly, cleaning, changing light bulbs and batteries. This is an inside joke we volunteers have. How many Vedantins does it take to change a light bulb? I invite Ashwin to the stage.
Namaste, everyone. Vasanthiji, I thought I answered the question through a series of complex calculations that the right answer is 3. You need 3 Vedantins minimum to change a light bulb. Anyway, thank you, Vasanthiji, for the opportunity to share my experience about the online course. Let me first start by expressing my deepest gratitude to Swamiji, Vasanthiji, and everyone who has contributed to this exceptional course. For context, first a little bit about my spiritual journey. I have been a regular attendee of the Saturday classes at Arsha Bodha Center for many years and also have a short daily meditation practice. I took Vasanthiji's Sanskrit grammar course for a year but couldn't complete it at that time due to some personal challenges. So prior to starting this course, I felt my practice could become more broad-based and my study more regular. My Vedantic study was mostly limited to the Saturday classes, and the effort on other fronts was neither deep enough nor sustained. This online course has been a tremendous boost to my practice on both aspects. It includes Vedanta, meditation, Sanskrit, and on-topic satsang. This, combined with requirement for daily study, is exactly the structure and intensity I needed to set my practice on the right path. Furthermore, the clarity of the lectures, supporting videos, animations, handouts, and overall production make for a highly effective learning experience. So my practice entails doing the guided meditation in the morning, immediately followed by 30 minutes or so of the Vedanta lecture. With a quieter mind, I absorb the subject matter better and also start my workday in a state of clarity and objectivity. Even with limited knowledge of Sanskrit, I'm in awe of its efficiency in conveying complex concepts while still retaining poetic elegance. As Swamiji and Vasanthiji point out, at times there are no perfect translations to English, and so to know is to really know it in Sanskrit. In the long run, with years of study, I can hope to deconstruct complex Vedantic verses with some success. But in the medium term, I look forward to something simpler, being able to immerse myself with full understanding in Vedic hymns, chants, and prayers that we often encounter, such as just about an hour ago downstairs. In each email that Swamiji sends out, he says, even if you have learned this before, study it a second time. You will learn much more. I understand the ultimate goal is not just to gain information, but rather to be firmly rooted in these teachings in all my actions and attitudes. So I see the value of such reinforcement towards achieving that objective. And now for a few words on what scared me the most when I enrolled. Homework. Yes, the course has homework, as a previous speaker alluded to. For those of us who told our kids when they were growing up, do your homework, do your homework. This is good for you. Well, it's our time now. Seriously though, neither the Sanskrit nor the Vedanta homework is onerous. For Vedanta, we identified 3 brief points on what we've learned in the past week. This ensures that I take notes, identify key points, and summarize in my own words. It also serves as a nice record of key aspects I've learned. So I love the homework, as long as I don't suddenly see an email from Arsha Bodha that says, grade, C-. Both Swamiji and Vasanthiji employ humor in their lessons, which makes for lively and engaging classes. As many of you know, Swamiji would often explain a profound concept, pause with a smile, and say, and I quote roughly, now you may be wondering, isme fayda kya hai? Or its American English sibling, so what? Humorous as it is, I also take it as an exhortation for me to be clear-minded about the goal of these teachings for here and now in this lifetime. So I like to observe myself and reflect. Do I notice any changes in my attitudes and actions over these years of spiritual practice? Have they moved even slightly in the direction conducive to achieving the ultimate goal of moksha? While far from being consistent yet, I find intermittent but discernible signs of growth. Each time I approach work with an attitude of offering, each time I accept an unfavorable outcome with prasada buddhi, each desire that shifts from binding to nice to have, each time anger or irritation wells up in my mind but abates quickly before finding voice. I realize that this journey is long and reaching the destination is far from certain. But with Ishwara's grace, with Swamiji as my guru, with teachers like Vasanthiji, the treasure trove of resources that Arsha Bodha offers, and the company of fellow mumukshus such as yourselves, I have embarked on the right path. Of this, I am certain. It is now up to me to keep developing the right attitude and put in the diligent effort needed. I feel truly blessed. Thank you, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you, Ashwin. Just a quick note on something that he touched upon. Am I changing even a little bit? So for all those who are either coming here regularly for classes or taking the online course, reflecting on, am I changing even a little bit? And that's really the purpose of any of these teachings. And I just have to quickly share the Vedantin joke, because those who are not part of the volunteer team may not get it. Usually when Jim and the volunteers have to change light bulbs here or cut some tree branches, we'll have about 10 students standing around looking at the one person on the ladder. So how many Vedantins does it take? And now I will turn the microphone over to Swami.
How many Advaitins does it take? But 10 to support the one who is doing that. Wonderful, and so nice to hear the students remark on their experience, and of course, I thank them for talking, and I thank all of you for coming and making our 26th celebration, anniversary celebration, a very wonderful occasion, very meaningful for me, and I think for all of us. As I mentioned, we wanted to share with you something about the online course, and there's something unique. Maybe unique is too strong a word. Something significant is happening with this taking a course in Advaita Vedanta, meditation in Sanskrit, and doing it online. Just to set the context, in 1986, I went to my guru's ashram in Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains and spent 3 years living with him there and undergoing a course of study in Advaita Vedanta, Sanskrit and meditation, along with 60 other students. We came to Arsha Vidya Gurukulam. This word Gurukulam, Kula, many of you know, means family. The family of the guru is a name for a traditional school in a Hindu context. And it goes back to the ancient times when students would go, and if they wanted to study with a certain rishi, they would go and live with that rishi and the rishis and become part of the rishi's household, part of the family of the rishi. This was how traditional learning took place thousands of years ago. And to take that same kind of experience of going and living with your teacher, that is hard for the vast majority of people to do. Could you leave your family for 3 years? Could you leave your home for 3 years? That's extremely difficult. Not very few people have the freedom in their lives to do so. So perhaps one significant factor and one significant feature of the online course is allowing people to do that in the midst of their family situations, in the midst of their daily obligations. They don't have to leave their homes and leave their families and leave their professions. They can do it all from home. This is a significant shift that we are all part of living today in the 21st century. On the other hand, it's not surprising, shouldn't be surprising, because the teachings of the ancient rishis have always been conveyed through whatever means were available. So in ancient times, if you wanted to study from a rishi, you go in and live there. But then the rishis taught orally. these oral teachings. It was originally an oral tradition. The Vedas were not written in the earliest days. Only later, the Vedas and all of our scriptures were written down. Once they were written on palm leaves and tree bark, then through a written form, they can finally be transferred, passed down from person to person. So now you don't have to go to the rishi's home, but in your own comfort of your own home, you can read these palm leaves. Of course, palm leaves are not very convenient. In fact, in those days, if you wanted, in those days meaning 2,000-3,000 years ago, if you wanted to study a scripture, and the first step was to get a copy of it and write out your own copy. That's why we have the scriptures today, is that students were motivated enough to make their own copies, and then these copies got passed on generation after generation until several hundred years ago with the printing press and now all the modern technology. We have access to so many books. And then, in our lifetimes, comes the internet. And this vast wealth of information is so easily accessible to us. And we are blessed to have access to all of that. It's one thing that's very obvious is that had the internet existed 4,000 years ago, the ancient rishis would have made ample use of it and brought about, even then, what we have. They could have implemented what we have today. And it looks like, if I can use this expression, to me it's like a virtual Gurukulam. Think about it. A virtual Gurukulam. Because all of these students meet in a virtual space, online space, for exactly the same reason that young students went to their gurus 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years ago. So it's the same process that's been continuing for these thousands of years. The style, the mode has changed very dramatically, but it's still, in essence, students coming and sitting in the presence of their teachers and learning. And it's wonderful to see that going on online right now. The fact that it's drawn so many students, and not just the online course, but some of you know that my teachings on the YouTube channel have reached out to a huge audience. Of course, how many people in the world do you think watch YouTube? Several billion people watch YouTube. And a few of them stumble into my YouTube channel. There are about 200,000 people subscribed to the channel, just showing how it's reaching out to a larger group of people. But why? What is the purpose in reaching out to more people? So why go through the trouble of launching this online course and doing all these YouTube videos when we could just, we're all here, so we're all benefiting from this, so why make this extra effort? And it's especially an important question because in our tradition, proselytization is not only not practiced, it's frowned upon. At least I personally frown upon. Proselytization means actively pushing your religious traditions and spiritual teachings on someone else, pushing it on them whether they want it or not, is proselytization. That's not the purpose of this outreach at all, as you understand. Then what is the purpose? And here's an interesting observation. In the 21st century, we now have the benefit of so much more technology. which has brought so many wonderful things into our lives. Think of how having a cell phone has changed your life. Having a computer has changed your life. And in some very positive ways. And the changes in medical technology, my gosh, allowing us to live longer and healthier lives. We all benefit tremendously from technology in modern times. But one thing all the technology has not done is reduce human suffering. We still suffer. Cell phones and computers and even medical technology doesn't eliminate the ordinary kind of suffering that we all go through. The suffering of losing a loved one, the suffering of dealing with aging, the suffering of dealing with interpersonal problems and other kinds of losses and problems and difficulties in life. That continues in spite of the presence of all this technology. We could say a little sarcastically that with the benefit of technology, today we can suffer more comfortably, right? Nice. You can sit in an air-conditioned room and eat some nice food, watch some nice movies on your TV or your computer, and suffer comfortably. So that problem continues. And it must be said that even though by and large technology has blessed us, but there are some situations where it's caused problems. For example, amongst young people today, social media is causing a lot of harm. That's just it's a fact, and it's an unfortunate consequence of technology. What did I write down? Other problems with artificial intelligence is going to help in so many ways, except those people who lose their jobs as a result of AI. Most people will be benefited. I think by and large, most of us are going to benefit from this technology, but some people will lose their jobs. Other problems with technology, of course, we live a faster pace of life today, and that causes problems with interpersonal relationships and families and all of that. So even though technology is largely positive in our lives, there are some downsides as well. Regardless, the fact remains, technology, no matter how much technology we employ in our lives, will never solve the problem of suffering. And that is the importance of making the teachings of Advaita Vedanta more easily accessible and to a wider audience. I didn't plan to talk about this, but just an observation I think that it should be made, and that is conventional forms of religion are helping people less and less in modern times. When I say conventional forms of religion, means all religions, including Hinduism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, all the world's religions have helped people tremendously over the years. But those same religious traditions are becoming less effective in meeting our needs today because we as human beings have evolved so much, changed so much, and to some extent, the world's religions have not evolved sufficiently to keep up with our needs. And I include Hinduism along in that package, because in modern times, the conventional forms of Hindu worship and prayer, going to temples, doing pujas and homas, even though we love to do the pujas and homas, I think most of you would agree that these forms of religious practice are becoming less helpful in modern times to modern generations, and what to speak of future generations. So what we need is not to remove any of these religious traditions, but add something to them. And that's where the teachings of Vedanta come in. The teachings of Advaita Vedanta bring in a very deep, profound spiritual dimension. And I'm looking at the clock. It's time for lunch. And I don't want to keep you, if we have a nice lunch for you planned, and we have beautiful weather outside, all the chairs are sitting out in the shade, we have nice food for you, and I really want you to go and enjoy that. So I'm not going to launch into a big Vedanta lecture right now. It's certainly not appropriate, but it's important, though, just to capture the sense of why these teachings of Advaita Vedanta are so, I would say, especially relevant and important to all people in modern times. And the reason is a kind of, there's a kind of illness that goes along with modern culture. I made reference to some of the downsides of technology. Without turning this into a big discussion, let's try it like this. The Sanskrit term, we used this some time ago in a class. The Sanskrit terminology for the illness of modern times is the same expression they used in ancient times. The expression is bhava roga. Bhava roga means the illness of day-to-day life. And it refers specifically to the fact that we suffer a lot. Even though we have all the comforts of modern technology, even though we may have wonderful families and professions and all the comforts of modern life, the suffering continues. Why? The ancient rishis, if I can use a modern American expression, the ancient rishis nailed it when they discerned that there's a fundamental disconnect inside of us. Everyone speaks of the divinity within us all. All Hindus, at least, speak about the divinity within oneself. What a disconnect! When you stand in front of a mirror, do you say, divine being? Huge disconnect. And the ancient rishis said the disconnect is your inability to recognize that inner divinity, your inability to recognize how blessed you already are in spite of your problems. Shankaracharya, the greatest teacher in our tradition, he said that bhava, he said it's bhava, the root is bhu, to be, to become. So Shankaracharya wrote, it's the disease, bhava roga, not the disease of existing or the disease of life. He called it the disease of becoming. Becoming, in other words, whatever I am today is not good enough. I have to become more. And then, of course, you work hard and you become more. But that's not enough. You still suffer. So you become more. And that's still not enough. You become more and more and more and more. Does this ring a bell? We become more and more and more and more, and still it's not enough. Still we suffer. Why? Failure to recognize your own essential nature, the essential nature which is the consciousness that's present in your experience right now, who you are right now. In the vision of the ancient rishis, who you are right now, in essence, is Satchidananda. Full, complete, perfect, content, and just an embodiment of perfect peace. Who you are right now. That remains to be discovered, and because it's not discovered, that's what leads to this cycle. More, more, more. I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. I have to try harder and harder and harder. It never ends. So these teachings are so important to all modern people, and perhaps will become even more important for future generations of people who enjoy more and more technology, who enjoy more and more comforts, but will still struggle with the same suffering, the same problem of bhavaroga, the same problem of always needing to become more, 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 and more. So these teachings are important not just to us, but to all modern people for the sake of a kind of healing. Let me end on this note. In our homa that we did before, the rituals we did before, we included Dhanvantari, the god of medicine, so to speak. That is, it's invoking Ishvara as the source of healing. To pray to Dhanvantari is to invoke Ishvara's blessings, God's blessings, for the sake of healing. Now, healing, we think of physical healing, so important. As you know, every one of us, we deal with health issues, and a lot of us, if you look around a room, and as I look around a room, and when I look in the mirror, we're all getting older, and we're all facing more and more health problems. So we invoke Ishvara's blessings for the sake of physical healing. Equally important, emotional healing. Tell me, your body can be the source of a lot of suffering. What about your emotions? Whoa! In fact, much of the time, our emotions seem to be more of a source of suffering than our bodies. So we need not just physical healing, we need emotional healing. And I would add one more to it. It doesn't sound right to me, but to follow my metaphor, I'm stuck. So we have physical healing, emotional healing, and spiritual healing. I don't like the word at all, but here's what I mean by spiritual healing. Removing that disconnect between who I think I am and who I truly am. Who I think I am is one thing. It's when you look in the mirror and you don't like everything that you see. And mirror figuratively, not just physical form, but everything about you that you don't like is what that look in the mirror represents, who I think I am, as opposed to who I truly am, what the ancient rishis discovered, that your essential nature is already more blessed than you can imagine. To discover your true nature then will allow you to let go of all that suffering, to let go of that anxiety and sense of urgency, more, so that you can really enjoy all the blessings that we have received in this lifetime, all the blessings that Ishvara has given us. So with this, we'll conclude the talk today and invoke Ishvara's blessings on all of us for all three. For physical healing, we pray that we should all continue to be physically healthy. We should be more and more emotionally healthy. Our emotional problems should get resolved. And finally, that this spiritual rift or disconnect in our hearts and minds can be healed so that we can truly recognize how blessed we already are in our essential nature. Okay, a few quick announcements before we can finish our program. First of all, I want to thank all the volunteers who made today's program possible, especially Vasanthiji, Gopi, and all the volunteers who help here all the time. Thank you. The program has gone so nicely. I want to thank all the donors, of course, who allow us to have a beautiful place and keep things running so nicely. And all the volunteers who help every week, thank you all. I think most of all, I want to thank all of you, because if you weren't here, I wouldn't be here. You know, this is our family, our Gurukulam. So you make it meaningful, you make it worthwhile. I'm extremely grateful for all of that. Some program announcements. We will have our question answer satsang tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Come join us. Next Saturday, Vasanthi will not give the 10 o'clock meditation. I'll continue to give an 11 o'clock meditation next week. Next week there will not be the 10 o'clock meditation, but Vasanthi will be giving a 5 o'clock program in somebody's home. I think there are flyers out front. You can get that information. I'll also mention that Vasanthi, then she won't teach next week, but then the week following, she's going to begin teaching Sadhana Panchakam. It's beautiful, beautiful text of Shankaracharya. So that'll start 2 weeks from today. And I think you'll enjoy that program a lot. By the way, you don't have to remember all this stuff. It's on our website. You also get our program emails, so don't worry about it. We'll end just in a moment with our closing prayers. I'll stay here and meet you if you want to come and greet me. And then lunch will be served outside. We have a beautiful day and nice food. I hope you enjoy. Thank you again so much, not just for coming today, but for all your participation over these 26 years, and for whatever years that will come. Thank you very much. We'll end with our prayers. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritangamaya Om Shanti 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 Om. Good. Thank you again. Enjoy your lunch.